I don't like calling myself an entrepreneur just yet because I'm still in the process of working in my business instead of outside of the business. And that's just something that I'm still learning to this day. But there's something that needs to change. And I'm going to share with you real quick just an update on how things are going as well as where they are going, because there is a pretty big shift happening in the world today. And I need to evolve with it with my agency. So if you aren't aware, I run Nava Church Marketing. It is a marketing agency specifically for churches to help them be better known in the community. People are suffering, struggling. There's a lot of anxiety out there. There's a lot of depression out there. There's a lot of abuse and addiction out there. And if they just knew the church was more than an option, but the answer, then they could find Jesus when he's calling them to him. That makes sense? When they can find Jesus when he's calling them to him. Okay. So Nava Church Marketing, this isn't I'm shutting down the business. We're actually adding instead of subtracting. We're adding instead of changing. I wish we were multiplying, but again, we're not quite there yet. But Nava Church Marketing is running and systems are in place. People are in place. We had to downsize a little bit, but actually that kind of helped us cut some fat and helped me realize that some resources were not going in the best place. And that's all offline talk and not the point of today's video. What I want to share with you is that we are shifting something. Now, I've been promoting churches and I want the community to know their local church and to see that their local church loves them and cares for them. And there's a lot of things the church can do that the community just doesn't know. One of the things that's always sat on the back of my heart is that the church is made of people. And I want to make sure that we don't just communicate the church, the building, the organization, the industry to the community, but that we help really people open up discipleship pathways, that we help get more of the church in the community, but also the people of the church in the community, the congregation of the church, because those are the people that are in the community. No matter what marketing, whatever advertising we do, those people are the ones that are in the community. So much so that we've actually been asked, or I've been asked before, hey, Justin, can you do for our local auto shop, for our lodge, for our, another example, roofing company? Can you do for us what you did for the church? Do a better website, help us show up on Google more often, get more people calling, right? Signing up for whatever events they have, local market events or something like that. And, we've basically said no, we're church marketing specific. Like our people are trained on church marketing and all our SOPs and practices are on church marketing specifically for churches, right? That's why we started a church marketing agency, because churches are such a unique beast and such a unique animal in a good way that it really requires a specific set of skills and changing how you think with things like advertising and even how you meet with people and communicate with people. But, as more of these business owners, ask those questions, or the pastors ask on behalf of the business owners, and I see that things aren't quite bouncing back in the economy that I wish they were, a lot of business owners are struggling. We've even had our own stretches this year, myself, and we're not local, but I know a lot of folks are really being stretched thin. There's a lot of downsizing out there that shouldn't be happening. These local businesses are being overlooked because they don't have the know-how, the budget, or even the insight to get out into the community. They're still doing things by word of mouth. In fact, we had to repair our car. The AC went out. God forbid, in August in Houston, right? That's the worst time for your AC to go out. I took my car to a local place and they ran a $125 AC diagnostic and told me, oh, the fan is fine, which I told them the fan's not working. The fan's not turning on. They said, no, the fan's fine, but we're going to need to replace the condenser or the compressor. And because we do that, we want to replace the condenser and do a whole unit flush out, whatever, blah, 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 $2,600. That's a lot. And it doesn't sound like what the issue was. So I took it to another shop that my cousin recommended. And this place barely showed up on Google. They had 50 reviews, 4.5 on Google. But I went there and they had the greatest customer service, the nicest guy up front. They were a typical mechanic shop, right? But they were super communicative. They called me at the end of the day. Hey, we did get you fit in. Here's the diagnostic. It's going to take this long. And they even said yeah, I don't think it's a fan issue. We don't got to take the engine apart. We're just going to test some electrical. We'll just charge you $40 for it. Seriously, for the diagnostic, 125 versus 40. And then he actually described the problem that I was having better than I could describe it to him. And he said, and we can fix it. We can go ahead and fix it. We'll do it all together for just over $1,000. I was like, yeah. Way better price, way better service. when I picked up my car, I said, how come my cousin had to tell me about you guys? You didn't show up when I searched, or, you're kind of next to some family house. And he's like, well, we've been in this community a long time and we just do word of mouth. And I asked him, if you got a few more, like just another 20 or 30 cars every month, would that help you guys? Like, would that break you guys? And he said, oh yeah, we're always open to more business. We're always telling customers, refer our friends out. And I said, well, why don't you ask them to leave a review and tell their friends, right? Because it's, you got to wait for your friends for their car to break. But if they leave a review, people that's car's broken right now will see that business, see the review, and Google will recommend it because they're getting more reviews. And he said, yeah, actually, that's something that I never thought about. And that's a conversation that I have a lot with churches, right? They're still stuck in 1990s, early 2000s. They may even think they're modern, but they're using 2016 marketing tactics. And it doesn't work anymore. The algorithm penalizes it. It's not even that you're being ignored. It's that you're being penalized for using outdated social media attempts. You're overlooked on Google because most people, even when they hear about your church or your business from word of mouth, they will still go to Google. They won't just show up blindly, right? Even when I went to that auto shop, I looked on Google, read the reviews, even though there weren't that many, but I was kind of desperate and I didn't want to pay $2,600. So I went to get a second opinion from my referral here. But I'll tell you this, if it was 2 or 3 stars, there's no way we would have gone. And there are a lot of businesses that are doing good work, but they have just a few stars to their name instead of 5. And they're not even the most accurate reviews. We worked with a fence company that had a 2-star review that said the food wasn't good. That should not be on there. And the business owner didn't even know that the review was there. So all that said, I made the decision. We're going to continue, obviously, operating Nava Church Marketing. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. We're going to do the same thing we did for churches, but now we're going to do it for local businesses. And it is going to be a local focus. We're not running marketing for e-com. We're not doing media companies. We're going to stay very focused on local because the mission is local. One of the things that I want this business side to do is to support the mission of making the church known. One of the things that I came to realize is a lot of churches that were hiring us, the money wasn't coming out of the church budget. The money was coming out because of a patron. Either the pastor was bivocational and owned a business and said, yeah, the business will fund this. Just tell me how much. Or, we gave them a quote, hey, it's going to be $7,000 for this project that they want to do for, the whole revamp, rehaul, rebrand, all that good stuff. And they said, well, we don't have that. And I said, okay, well, we'll obviously stay in touch. And then I get a call a few weeks later that says, hey, someone in the congregation wants to sponsor this, or they're going to pay half the bill and the church will pay the other half. There's several stories that we have about that. And I realized that it's these people that are running their local businesses and want to invest in their church, and they want to go above and beyond to help us support the church and help the church reach the community. And I realized that if we can help those folks win, they can support the church more. So this new wing that we're opening for businesses, simply because I'm the most creative person you've ever met, Nava Digital Marketing. I know it's the greatest name ever. To be honest, I just didn't want to print another shirt. But we're going to do the same thing for businesses as we do for churches. High touch. We answer the phone. We respond to texts at midnight. We answer emails within 24 hours. We're not going to be any technical jargon. We're not going to ask you to download or buy any expensive software. Everything's going to be handled on our end. You don't even need to log in if you don't want to. You can call or email us with anything you need to happen, and we'll make it happen. And then as well as results driven, right? We don't want to just build a website because it looks nice and it makes you feel good. We want to build you a new website because it's going to bring more people in the door. We don't want to keyword stuff your Google business profile description because that's what you're supposed to do. We want to do what's required to bring new leads, make the phone ring. So we have some team members that are very excited for this. We're going to put some people in place to expand the team for the business side, as well as bring some folks up. I know we have my SEO guy is actually getting his master's degree this fall. So I'm like, I got to get you some more money because he's paying for it out of pocket. His family can't help him. He's obviously doing work for me and other organizations, but I'd love to have him full time because he's one of the best workers I've ever had. And this is a way for me to get him more work, but also promote him so he can start running teams himself and he can get that managerial experience as well. Now, this doesn't replace what we're doing for churches. This extends it. Why? Because when business owners can see wins, they can support the church to win. And when I say win, I mean win in the mission, right? If we can bring the business owners more business, they can hire more people, free up their time, serve the church, give more to the church, and just, they don't have to worry about the bottom stuff, so they can focus on that high stuff to really be a part of the church. So we'll do the same thing for businesses. And some of the things that we've been able to do, if you follow me on Facebook, you notice that we've been doing a little bit of beta testing with reviews, with seeing like how modern SEO, that's search engine optimization, how you're showing up on Google, how that's changed now with AI. It's changed now with, everyone doing all the low level fruit stuff. So you got to go up in the tree to get the good fruit, right? Because everyone's competing for that bottom stuff. And so we focus on that higher level stuff, the stuff that no one else is doing, the stuff that the fly by night marketers that are opening up businesses and telling you about how they made $1 bajillion, but they've been in business for like 2 days, that we're doing the things that they aren't doing. In fact, we've got a church that not only ranks number one on Google, not only ranks number one on Google Maps when people are searching for a church near me, but they're also ranking number one on AI recommendations, where Google's AI will pop up and says, hey, yeah, near you, there's this church. And they seem family focused and biblical accurate, and click here and see more about what Sundays are like. We helped a local business owner that's a family friend, and texted me the other day and said, hey, our phone's ringing off the hook. I'm kind of overwhelmed here. So we had to slow down a little bit. We have some churches that we bring into the top 3 spots, which if you don't know, if you're not in the top 3 in Google, you're basically not seen by 50% of people. So if we can just get you in that top 3 spot, naturally your phone rings about 25% more. You go from about 12 calls a week to 16, 20 calls a week to whatever 20% of that is. One of the things that we've heard is that, the people that come in, because of our strategy behind everything that we do, the people that come in need less selling. They're ready to buy because they are informed, because we inform them, and they're inspired because we helped inspire them. Those are the 2 things that you really need. And a lot of businesses focus on information, but they don't focus on inspiration. And one of the things that we do is help bring the inspiration, bring the humanity, bring the feeling into how they promote their business. So the last question I wanted to answer here in this quick update video is, why now? This is something that I've been working on for the last several months. And why now? Why in the busyness of school starting? Of course, we're packed up at the church agency because of the back to school time. Working with churches and in my mentorships and coaching communities that I've been a part of, our margins are the lowest that many agencies will have. In fact, some people are like, I can't even believe you're doing this. How are you making a paycheck out of this? You need to raise your prices to be more competitive. But when I do that, it leaves out a lot of the churches that I want to serve. Our heart is the churches like under 300, under 100 that want to make an impact, but they just don't know how. They don't have the people. They don't have the resources. They don't have the expertise. They just want to be in front of people, so they hire us to be behind the screens. All that said, to help those churches, I want to help the business owners that are in their churches, as well as just help the local heroes that are running businesses, that maybe we don't serve their church, but they want to make a big impact. They want to get in the community. They want the community to know. Because I would much rather someone go to your local bookshop and buy some books there than go to Barnes & Nobles or get it at Target. I would much rather someone take their car to Ferranti's Automotive, where I took my car, rather than Christian Brothers or rather than Walmart, even for an oil change. So I would rather people know their local businesses to lift up the local economy rather than lift up the Wall Street pockets, so to speak. We want to help people. We want to help people that want to help the church, and we want to help in turn, I believe that will help the church get back in the community. So just a real quick wrap up here. If you have local business owners in your church, by all means, send them my way. We're getting a path to set them up, get them straight, do the same high quality, high touch, simple work that we've been doing. You'll see some of the profiles change. You'll see like my social medias go from Nava Church Marketing to Nava Digital Marketing. Right now, they'll stay as 2 separate entities, but they will be combined into one. I think we have a 1-year plan to bring the business logistics into one. And then we'll be Nava Digital Agency, Nava Digital Marketing, but we'll have like a church wing that works with them. Now, if we get doing this and we find out it's better to keep them 2 entities, we'll keep them 2 entities. But for right now, we think it's best on the tax end and the logistic end and all that stuff to have them as eventually come together as one. But anyways, so you see some changes there. But I wanted to put this out in front of you. I've been a little bit quiet because I've been wrestling with this and, of course, wrestling with my kids and making sure that, how can we keep Nava Church Marketing going when costs are going up, prices are going up, inflation is going up, church income is coming down? How do we do all this, maintaining the margins without shutting down the agency? So the last thing the agency can do is lose money. It's always been cash flow, and it's always going to be cash flow. And, how can we set all this up? And I think this is the way that we can further expand the community presence. I can further support my family while also maintaining the mission of local first. The church needs to be known in the community. If we can get the church congregation, the business owners in the community, and get them known, they win. They can support the church wins. And of course, the kingdom wins. So thank you guys for watching this. I appreciate you. If you have any questions, just shoot me a message in the DM. On the YouTube channel, we'll move towards one video a week, similar to what we did with the Best Known Church Show. We'll do it more focused on general marketing. Everything we do will always be applicable to businesses and churches. So one of the things that we want to do is help people discover you and find you. And it's actually, for some folks, it's a lot easier than you think. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon. God bless.